check out the Friday podcast. Friday vibes.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Trey.
Sounds like a stand-up dude.
Oh my God.
Hopefully you're watching the Friday podcast. Guys, we raw uncut up in here. Oh, shining fire.
Stop it. Dumbass.
How am I posing? But I'm getting really heated and heated. That's what it's all about. We want everybody to go out and just live for your Friday.
It's
Little bit of
guys. So this is a special episode. Like, we are so excited about this episode, right?
Very
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are going to have it. All right, Deontay. We're going to be having a special guest in the building in a few minutes. They're going to be joining our Skype call. She's my good friend, Meredith Bell, who is making huge moves and huge waves in the world of wrestling. She has performed at an AEW pay-per-view event called Revolution, right, guys?
Yes. Yeah.
And she opened for Chris Jericho.
Great paper.
Yes, and she's also a ring announcer for a wrestling promotion called Chikara.
Oh, Chikara?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Why didn't you say so earlier? That's a big deal.
I forgot to mention it, man. So
Wow.
you got. So I know you got questions, bro. I know you got questions. But so she's a ring announcer for Chikara. So she really wants us to really become a supporter of Chikara and really promote some of their stuff. And she really wants to come on and really talk about some of their events and things. So I know, Perrin, you gonna be excited about that.
I do what I can, man. I do what I can.
Awesome.
I try to carry the load.
Yes. So
you are carrying.
So anyway, so she's gonna be joining us in a bit. So those are some of the things that she's been doing and she's been up to. She's also been in a singing competition in Philly. I forgot the name of it. I think it's called like the Sing Off or something. But when we talk to her, she'll tell us what the name of it is. But those are the things, some of the things that she's been doing and that she's been up to. And it's much more that we're going to talk about in the interview. But that's what we're going to be talking about during our Friday small talk. Who else is excited?
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It's gonna be pretty dope.
Everyone.
It's gonna be pretty dope.
She's out there eating.
Trey, I know you are gonna have some questions about Le Champion.
Le Champion.
I got a whole scroll ready for this. Okay.
Yes, and she is gonna love it. She's gonna love it, man. Will, you're going to be coming with our Live for Your Friday moment quote in this episode, right?
Yes, yeah.
I cannot wait to hear it. Who else is looking forward to that?
We should all be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We did one for
And we're always looking forward to Rank 'em Up.
The best segment.
Yes.
Rank 'em up.
And so this episode is going to be what? We're going to double dose.
Yes, exactly. It's special.
Yes, because we got a special guest and everything, so we might as well make a special Rank 'em Up. You feel me?
Exactly. Deontay.
Yes, sir.
Before Meredith joins us in this Skype call, I want to talk about this top 5 favorite albums. I just want us to go around real quick before Meredith comes and tell our top 5 favorite albums.
Jeez, put us on the spot right now.
It's a crazy spot.
Jeez.
Well, you got
Top
5
5
minutes.
favorite
Meredith is going to be joining us in 5 minutes, I think. 5 minutes.
It's okay. We technically did that on Instagram. We technically did on Instagram, so we got this.
Yeah, we kind of did.
But that was 4. The 5th spot is always the hardest spot for this.
It's
Oh, is it?
always the hard.
I mean, we can do 4.
Yes.
No,
I
let's
have
no, just
four.
do five.
Nah, you might as well say five. You said
Five.
five. Right?
Let's just do 5.
Let's
5
do
is
the five.
interchangeable
All
with
right, yeah,
6.
I
We'll
got
figure it
five
out.
right
We'll
now.
figure something out.
All right, come on. We got 4 minutes, so go ahead,
We
Deontay.
good.
All right, so my 5 Rico Buddy O'Pal is number 1, Childish Gambino, Because the Internet. Amazing classic album, man. Number 2, The Cool by Lupe Fiasco. 3, The Sickness by Disturbed. 4, 24K by Bruno Mars. And 5, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. Yes, sir.
Nice.
All right, Perrin.
Okay, we gotta remember, Rick. Okay, number 1 is What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Number 2, I believe, is Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder.
Ooh.
3 is Kind of Blue by
Yeah.
Miles Davis. And 4 is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West.
Gotta have it up
Fourth
there.
one.
All right, so Deontay gave 5, so you got to give that 5th.
Yeah, he did.
Jeez. 5th, I'll do. You know what? It's gonna be kind of cliche, but I'll say Purple Rain by Prince.
Hey,
All right.
that's
No
good.
album.
That's good.
All right.
Mine, number 1 is Sing to Me Instead by Ben Platt. 2 is The Defined Feminine by Mac Miller. 3 is Dangerous Woman by Ariana Grande. 4 is The Kids Are Alright by Chloe and Halle. And 5 is probably Channel Orange by Frank Ocean.
Okay. Channel
All
One.
right.
That is good.
Oh, Cam,
Yo.
what's your top 5?
All right, my top 5 is Fame. That's number 1. I like that. Fame,
Chris.
The Carter 3, Thriller, Scorpion, and number 5. Geez, it's harder than I thought.
Exactly.
You should already have this in the bag, G.
I know,
Yeah,
if
but
you
I
go-
had, but it's
Chris
hard.
up there.
Who I listen to like that?
There's still another Chris up there, man. You got it.
Just throw another Chris Brown out there.
Yeah.
That's.
no
I mean,
beef.
there's nothing
I
wrong
guess.
Pretty
with
much,
that. Though.
yeah.
There's nothing
Then
wrong with it, though.
Yeah, then I just throw on Chris Brown, his first album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
nothing
with
wrong
you.
with
Good
it.
one.
A good
Yeah,
classic.
that's
Good
pretty.
one.
That's fire.
Yeah.
His first
That's
album.
that's
was
That's
good.
back before he hit Rihanna.
All right,
That's
next.
good.
All right, get out of here.
Very good one.
Not touching
top
it because I want to have a
5,
career
no
and I value
particular
people's
order,
lives.
though. No particular order. I had Shea Butter Baby by Ari Lennox. I can play that top to bottom. Blue Stars by one of the greatest groups of all time, Pretty Ricky.
That's pretty.
The Writings on the Wall by Destiny's Child. In My Own Words by Neo. And my honorable mention is 4 by Beyonce.
Okay.
4 with 5.
Oh, wait, we doing honorable mentions.
Well, that's number
No.
5.
Oh, that's number 5.
No, that's her 5. That's her
That's
5.
5.
Oh,
Top
Number
5.
5.
That's a 5.
Trey.
Trey.
24K Magic. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay.
hear you.
Bruno Mars, 24K Magic. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Wow.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I like Queen. I like a lot of Queen albums, but I'm just gonna say their Live at the Wembley Stadium album. Even though I also like Night at the Opera. And I'm gonna say for the 5th one, it's a couple. I'm gonna say Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Interesting. No Elton John.
So number 1 for me is Hardcore, Lil' Kim.
Not top 5.
I'm gonna run and get the vinyl real quick.
Oh
Oh,
God.
my
He
Lord.
had the
We don't have
vinyl.
that time.
Rico. It's
Number
7.
1, Lil' Kim,
That is
Hardcore.
fire.
Number
Oh my
2,
God.
Number 2, Ready to Die, Biggie Smalls, Notorious Big. Number 3,
Love
Mr.
it.
Smith, LL Cool J. Number 4, oh my God. Who was that?
You check. Oh, Pink Friday.
No. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye West.
Kanye West.
He said
Um,
Friday. This dude Friday.
Oh my God.
Roman
I'm
Reloaded.
forgetting-
Roman Reloaded.
I'm forgetting
White Iverson by
something.
Post Malone.
Roman's Revenge.
Control, SZA?
Roman's Revenge.
Hardcore, Ready to Die.
Don't
Mr.
you like
Smith,
Invasion of Privacy? Don't you like?
YMCB.
Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Oh, my boo. Auntie Rihanna.
Yeah. There you go.
Isn't it Anti?
You played that album.
Anti.
Yes, anti, whatever.
And
He
it
still
is
plays it.
7:31.
I played
Still
that out
plays it.
in the office. I played that out in the office.
It's a good album.
It's really good.
It is.
I
It's
like
a good
Same
album.
Old Mistakes. Great song.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I love it.
It's crazy how a lot of us have Dark Twisted Fantasy on our list. That says a lot about that album.
That does say a lot about that album, and that's what's crazy to me. That's what's crazy.
It's a good album.
Refresh me. Which one is the My Beautiful Dark Twisted? Like, what were like the popular?
Monster.
Runaway.
Yeah, it's like
Runaway.
2010, 2011 Kanye.
Graduation?
I like Graduation
Yeah.
too. I really
that's
do.
Kanye.
I like
Yeah.
Kanye a lot growing up.
That's
Isn't
20.
man?
I like
Isn't man down on that one too?
Is it?
Man, that
Huh?
was
No.
What?
You mean by Rihanna?
I thought we were still talking about Rihanna. My fault.
Lord, bro. Damn.
You know,
Damn, Mo.
I can't wait.
Trey, add it to the list.
Add it
I can't
to the list.
It's getting added. I can't
What?
wait.
I
to go
thought
back.
Anyway,
we were
this
talking about
is-
Rihanna.
This was good because it had like 2010,
Whatever.
2011 cocky Kanye. Like
Okay.
RC.
I like Kanye.
I don't like remix. Like that's the Kanye that I was like when he was in people's face.
You.
But those
Yeah,
were on the
and
album though.
So Paul was on that album.
So
Paul
appalled.
was great.
So appalled
Amazing.
is
That's when RZA.
Boy, that joint was fire,
Oh,
right?
fire.
Fine. Especially RZA's part, Happy
Yeah,
Week.
RZA. Ridiculous. Jeez, RZA. He was about to hit somebody.
When
But
I
I'm
heard that
always
song for the
like
first
Kanye.
time, I was because I wasn't as deep into rap as I was. Like, who's RZA? And they're like, oh wait, that's RZA.
Oh
It
my
didn't-
God.
Jeez,
RZA,
man.
man.
I
Don't
wasn't
mess
deep.
with the
I was
Wu,
deep in the
baby.
Wow.
Wu-Tang like that when
I said the same thing,
Okay.
Farron. I said the same thing.
it was
The
2010.
Jizza.
I was a junior in high school, I think.
That's crazy. 'cause
chat.
the
No,
Jizza-
I even like College Dropout. Though.
Oh, I mean, College Dropout was good too.
Oh
I
yeah.
do. I
You
like
said
College
2010, you were
Dropout. Maybe
senior
it's
in high
just me,
school?
but
I was a
He's a
junior, I think, when they came
junior.
out.
Yeah, because I
He
was a
was a-
I
senior.
was
Senior.
7th grade. Maybe.
Jesus.
Yeah, I
Jeez, you
was
was
a
a
senior. Perrin was a junior.
Yeah, I was in high.
It's
All right,
crazy.
Deontay, go back to
just
your
your car.
80s.
That is crazy.
Go back to
What
my
is
what?
that, man?
It
80s.
is. I've never watched it, but I know a lot who have wrestled in Trey. Like a lot of people have wrestled there. Like
Uh-huh.
Really?
Cedric Alexander, Adam Cole, Brody Lee,
What was
AJ
that?
Styles,
Here we
CM
go.
Punk, Tommaso Ciampa. You know, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
gee.
Hey.
Oh, look who it
Hey.
is.
Hello.
Hey.
Hold on, guys.
Oh.
Hey.
Meredith.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Meredith, welcome to the
There she
Friday podcast.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Hey.
Oh, I was wondering.
How you guys doing?
Okay.
Hey,
We're
we
doing
we
good.
Doing
living
good.
we
Good.
living
How
it
are
up
you
right
doing?
now.
Good. Fantastic.
Yes.
up.
So we just went through. We were going through Meredith naming our top 5 favorite albums.
Ooh, okay.
And before we get started and we start, bugging you about a bunch of other stuff, let's pick your brain about your top 5 favorite albums.
Oh dear.
Put her,
Okay.
put her on the spot.
I know,
On
right?
the
A little
spot.
bit. Well, just a tiny bit. Okay. Well, oh, that's so hard for me because I'm a bit of a metalhead, guys. So I listen
Yes.
Okay.
to
Okay.
art stuff.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, so top 5. One of my top favorites has to be Master of Puppets by Metallica.
Okay.
Okay.
That
I'm
is
familiar.
the
Yep.
album that I started listening to in middle school that got me into hard rock music as a whole. Killswitch Engages, The End
Yes.
of Fake.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. That's
Fake,
fire.
right? He knows what I'm
That's fire.
talking about.
Deontay is him and Will have the most eclectic musical taste.
Someone
Okay.
actually told me that yesterday. It's weird.
I'm here for that. That's fine. So Seven Dust, their Seasons album, which is my personal favorite. Seven Dust is like my favorite band of all time.
His
I love
voice is crazy.
incredible.
Okay. His voice is
And then, oh my gosh. Final two. I will say we'll go back to the rap for a little bit. I will say Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly.
Okay.
Nice.
Classic.
Okay.
Right. Love that album so much.
That's real good. That's really good.
Right. And then I will say Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know any of those bands
right.
besides Metallica, but I appreciate your list.
I appreciate that's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't expect
I want
Pantera.
those to be off the wall, but
So, Meredith, let everybody introduce themselves to you so you know who you're talking to besides
Exactly.
me.
What are you doing?
He's
So,
so rude, isn't he?
Deontay, go ahead, bro.
I am Deontay White, singer, rapper, actor, pilot, lawyer,
Here we go.
all those
Here we
different
go.
things. STEM coordinator. But no, yeah, that's me
Yes.
from Virginia, Newport News, born and raised.
Okay.
I didn't say give her your bio.
Tell me who I am.
You know,
That's
he's
who I
like,
am.
You might give her your
like
social
on walks on
security
the
number.
beach.
Exactly.
So I like
Look at his damn Tinder profile. Y'all see that?
I
right?
know he's gonna put the Mac down, Meredith.
the magnificent.
It's fine.
It's
Ooh.
funny.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Jeez, Deontay. So I'm Perrin, writer, director, producer, wrestling fan, huge wrestling fan. I see your Inner Circle shirt, and I'm wearing my Dustin Rhodes shirt right now.
I love it.
so
Yes. That's
yeah,
wonderful.
support. Yeah.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I am Will, also a wrestling fan. I'm not gonna give you my bio because it's not about me. It's about
Very nice to meet you, Will.
nice to meet you too.
I think who's next?
It's Cam.
Cam.
It's Cam.
Oh,
Cam,
my bad.
Izzo.
Well, my name's Cameron.
Are you guys getting shy on me? What is it?
Wait for Cam. Cam,
No,
go ahead,
nobody
man.
can. All right. Yeah, Cameron Peters. Yeah, I live in Hampton. I do everything pretty much, so I don't want to give you my background. So
That's fine. That's
acting,
fine.
dance, and I'm also a big wrestling fan as well. And my favorite wrestler is Randy Orton. So.
Oh my gosh, Cam.
Well, he
Get
doesn't
out of
like
here.
Never mind. Very nice to meet you.
That.
He is a mess.
Thank
I
you.
would have. You know what? I'm gonna hold on, Shan. Before you introduce yourself, I would have loved to see how this would have went in person.
I'm having a ball already. This is great.
Because this is hilarious. So go ahead, Shan.
Hello. My name is Chantel. I was a star in a play in high school. I was also a rapper in high school. Now
Ooh.
I just
Oh, I didn't know
work
that.
in the nonprofit field.
Bars.
Shut them down, Shan. Y'all know. Listen.
Hey,
Shut 'em down.
Shut him down.
Shut him down.
Shut 'em down.
But I am happy to be in
Shut
your
'em down,
presence
Shan.
and welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. And last but certainly not least.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Worst
So
one.
I'm Trey Wan. You can call me Trey.
Oh, were you the one
Singer,
that
actor.
you were the one that was on Instagram, right?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Because I shared your post
Me too.
earlier. Got it.
You did. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty nice of her. Look at that. I don't know if you scoped my Instagram out. I got to update it a little bit, but thank you.
I'll stalk you later. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's okay. You can stalk me. It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
As long as we're clear on that.
But yeah, we're all jacks of all trades here. You know, singer, actor, rapper, pilot, all of it.
My man said,
Hey,
okay.
You know,
I lying.
astronauts, whatever you want to call us, is what we are. But yeah. Other than that, you can call me Trey. We're excited to have you. This is great.
Yes.
We have
This is so
for
cool.
you, so.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, so Meredith,
Thank
so we
you.
are just so jazzed. You know, I'm so pumped to have you on the podcast. And so I just want to just jump right in. We got so much to talk about. I think we could really make the whole episode about you because we could talk about so much stuff.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want to get to like the hot topic that's on everybody's
It is a lot.
mind is AEW Revolution.
Yes. I still have my one day guest pass. Hold on.
Let's go.
I kept it as a
Wow.
on my face.
Wow.
I had to keep it. It was like
That's
a little
tough.
sake that I got from the show. I was like,
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta keep that. You can't.
Yeah.
You gotta keep that.
I love it.
That's fire.
So what, I mean,
So we want to say, how did that even come about? We
Yeah,
wanna
how
say,
did that even come about?
Yeah, how did that happen?
okay. All right, boys and girls. We got a story to share. All right.
Let's do
So,
it.
I saw back in January, Chris Jericho had his Rock and Wrestling Rager, which is his cruise that he does every week.
Okay.
So video started to circulate of all of the fans singing his song, Judas.
Right.
As he was walking to the ring. It was like the entire crowd. It was a big deal. And so I thought to myself, I was like, oh, I could do that. That'd be fun. So I ended up recording an a cappella version of Judas. And at the time, I didn't really expect anything to happen from it. I just figured like I'd get like a couple of retweets and like, oh, that was cool. And just move on. So I posted it on a Saturday. And I think it was like the 26th or the 27th of January. And
I have to stop you right there because that video is amazing.
Thank you.
You did
really good.
Every
really good video.
sound is all you.
Man, listen, being in Dr. Gamby's class really paid off, dude.
Okay.
Okay. Rest in peace, Dr. Gamby, but he had people on points.
Yes.
Greatness and nothing less.
He did not play.
Right. So basically, I posted the video, and then on Monday, I woke up getting ready to go to work, and I saw that Jericho saw it. So he retweeted it. He said how great it was. That's when things just started like cascading from there. That's when like all the retweets, all the likes, I started to get all these follows, stuff like that. But again, I really didn't expect much from it. Right. So I went to work, and the next thing you know, I checked my phone during my lunch break, and it's Jericho. He's in my, like, literally slid in my DM, right? And he's like, hey, do you think that you could send me a copy of this so I could share it on my social media? It's like, yeah, of course, absolutely. So I emailed it to him. Again, didn't expect anything other. He was going to share it on his Facebook, on his Instagram. That was going to be the end of it, right?
You had to have already been on a high seeing him in your DMs anyway.
Kind of,
I
but
would have
not
went bonkers.
really. Like,
Okay.
because for me, it's just like, okay, it's the internet. Like, that's cool that I get likes and retweets, but what else is that going to do? Just for me personally, like, I just don't get really hype into that sort of thing. But here's where things started to turn.
That's the Capricorn in you.
All right. So here's where things started to turn, right? So he emails me back after I sent him the original email with the video, and he says, "Where are you based out of?" And I'm like, right outside of Philly. Why did you ask? Then he's like, all right, I want to clear something up with AEW real quick. I'll get right back to you. So I was like, okay, I don't know if he's like going to send me a present or something. Like, what is this?
Uh-huh.
He emails me back. I was taking a shower, right? Just finished working out, took a shower. I get out of the shower, I check my phone. He says, almost verbatim, I want you to perform February 29th at AEW Revolution as I walk to the ring in Chicago. That
is amazing.
Lost my poor boyfriend at the time was like sitting on the bed, and so I run out of the shower just like half naked at this point, just like, Jericho, Chris Jericho, what's me? Lost it. Absolutely lost it. So I say, yeah, of course, sure, I could do that. Yeah, that's fine. And then he's like, do you think that you could get a group of people together to sing with you, to have like a choir? So I was like, in my mind, I'm freaking out. But then, of course, professional Meredith is like, yeah, of course, Christopher, I could do that. I could get squadron of people for you, So, as Rico knows, I've been active in the musical theater scene up here in Philly. So I had groups on like Facebook and stuff like that from the productions that I've done in the past. So I've done Avenue Q, I've done Aida, I've done Sweet Charity. So I've had like, Passing Strange I did as well. So I have people that I know from doing, these shows. And I just went on Facebook and I just was like, guys, I need your help. Is anybody free this weekend? You'll go to Chicago for free. Please help me. And by the end of the week, I had 2/3 of the choir.
Wow.
Yeah. People.
That's a good turnout. That's a great turnout.
It's like, as soon you know how people are. As soon as they hear it's free, when it's free, it's for me. Like, okay, free.
Oh yeah.
Get food out, girl. Yes.
Okay.
So it was that.
It's definitely going.
So the wrestling fan in me was psyched.
That's really amazing.
Thank you. So, but the musician in me was like, oh man, I have so much work to do now. So I got like this software program where I was able to write sheet music, and I composed and arranged the entire song. So it's one of those things where you have to think of, this is a rock song with like guitars and drums and bass and stuff like that. How do you transpose it to be, applicable for an a cappella choir?
Right.
And still make it sound and still make it have, stay true to the song. So that was really the big challenge with transposing and like arranging and that sort of stuff. And I haven't arranged sheet music in a very long time. So it was definitely like, getting the rust off and that sort of thing. But I got it there. And with the help of Wes, who was our conductor, he was also the musical director. He really helped me kind of like bang out, some notes that may, have not worked, and really brought it to clean it up and make it sound a little bit tighter. So, one of the tenors, Garrett Vaughn, is a master at this. Like, he is a professional singer. That's what he does for his job. Right. So like, if he, if it weren't for coronavirus, he'd be out on contract right now. Like, he's just that damn good.
Wow.
So Wes and Garrett were the two, like, my right-hand men who really, like, helped me get it tight and get it together. So
shout out to Wes and Garrett.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Great. They're incredible guys. Incredibly talented as well. So we had a month to prepare. From the time that I got the email from Jericho, from the time of Revolution, we had a month.
Wow.
So we had 3 rehearsals. We were going to have 4, but one of them we had to cancel because everyone was sick. So that was fun.
You've been there.
But, of course, with the help of modern technology, I was able to record all the parts, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and I sent it out to the group so that they could be able to, practice on their own.
Right.
And by the time we had our last rehearsal, I was like, oh, man, this is going to be huge, life-changing. Like, I started crying because of how good everybody sounded.
And I mean, the response on social media was insane. Like, and I mean, I don't even know
amazing.
how I missed it, like, when it happened. But Trey actually watched it live. Him and Perrin, you guys watched it live, right?
Yeah, we sure did. And so Rico sent it to us. I was like, Rico, Rico, I'm watching. Stop! I don't want any spoilers.
Yeah.
I said, let me look. I said, it's like, wait, Rico, you know her? What the?
Huh?
Yeah. That threw us for a loop.
Yeah.
It was like, oh wait, like, you know her? Okay, that was awesome.
So, like, legitimately knows me. Like, Rico and I went to high school together, and
so me and Meredith go way back, like
back in the day.
Yes, back in the day. And so one of my questions, Meredith, comes from, like, knowing who you were in high school and who you are now, how did that transition come about? Like, you have just blossomed, and talk to me about that.
Okay, so
I know in that story, I asked because I know in that story somebody could be blessed by.
Man, listen. So it has not been all sunshine and rainbows being in Philly. I have definitely gone through some heartache. I was married. I got divorced very quickly. It was very much a whirlwind marriage and a whirlwind divorce. And I've been homeless. Like, I had there was this guy that I was living with who ended up just skipping out on rent. So, that sort of thing.
Wow.
So it's been one of those things where, like, no matter what was going on in my life, I always had music to turn to. Always. I've been, active back and forth with my band. So I was in the band called Palace Burn for 9 years. And and having the guys and having our fans just like still supporting us and still being there for us no matter what, and to have that outlet to be cathartic and that sort of thing. Like, I always just tried to stay true to myself. Like, I know, I may suffer from like depression and anxiety and stuff like that, but the one thing that I know for myself in my heart is that God blessed me to be able to perform and to be a singer. And so I've just always tried to stay true to that and, continue on with like trying to forge this path into becoming a performer and having that be my career.
Exactly.
And
that's a great testimony.
What did you say, Cam?
I said that could be a testimony because
it is. Yes, you're right about that. Perrin, I know Perrin has him, Deontay, Perrin, Will, everybody has questions loaded. So I want them to go ahead and get their questions out to you, and then we'll just keep going from there.
So who wants to go first? Deontay, Will, me? What you want to do? I got questions.
Deontay can start.
Okay, good.
I can start. And then we can get to Perrin. He got them heavy questions. I know.
Heavy questions.
They're not heavy questions, but that's they're interesting.
Heavy ones. Here we go.
Yeah. So it's the question I have is the first one is, so what would you say is your favorite championship belt?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. Oh boy. I would say honestly, not the spinner belt. That's not
good.
not that one.
It's a good one.
It was like the big gold one that was like not really Attitude Era, but more so like the Ruthless Aggression.
Yes.
Sort of. I remember
still
holding that one.
World heavyweight.
World heavyweight. Yes. Okay.
No, she's talking about that one. No.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
No, she's talking about the world heavyweight
belt.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's Deontay's favorite belt.
My favorite is the Undisputed.
Oh no,
Undisputed one's good too.
Trey likes
That's
the world
my
heavyweight.
favorite one. That junk.
Trey likes the world heavyweight.
Trey loves that one. And then the second one I have, the last one is. So I see that you're big into Harry Potter. How do you feel about being in Slytherin?
I feel great about why.
Holy shoot.
Team Slytherin, bro.
No, Team Gryffindor. Get out of here.
Gryffindor issue with that.
Really? Because I'm Ravenclaw.
Okay, real quick. Everybody run off their houses real quick. I'm Slytherin. Perrin.
I think I'm Ravenclaw. The test I'm Ravenclaw. I think.
Deontay.
You're definitely Ravenclaw. You look like Ravenclaw.
Trey's Slytherin. I can already tell.
Wow.
Yes. Deontay, who's your house, Deontay?
I'm Ravenclaw.
Will, who's your house, Will?
I'm Gryffindor.
Cam?
Gryffindor.
Trey?
Come on.
Oh, Shan doesn't have a house. Shan does not do Harry Potter.
You being Ravenclaw.
Speaking of Harry Potter, don't you have a Deathly Hallows tattoo on your ring finger?
Oh, snap.
Jeez,
I cannot. I don't know if you can really see it.
I have one
get
too.
Off her.
Yeah.
Oh,
twinsies.
Oh, that is tough.
You guys too? Okay, I don't have one. But I just wanted to go in there.
Nerds. We're nerds.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Sure do.
That's awesome.
I like that I don't have a ring now, so I can actually see it.
See?
The
I
gag
told
is.
you,
There
man.
it
I
is.
told you it was
The
going
gag.
on.
There it is.
Wow.
Did their
That-
homework.
Yes, I told you. I was going to.
That's it for me though. We go on the wheel.
Actually, I have another question. How was it? I know you were in AIDA. How was that? How did you come about getting a musical theater? Was that like something you always did?
Oh my gosh. So funny story. When I was in high school with Rico, I actually hated musical theater. I despised it.
Wow.
Oh my God. No, I was definitely one of those like emo kids, that sort of thing, who wore like the black eyeliner and like, the little Junko pants or whatever. That was
You know what?
definitely
At this moment, I'll flash some pictures of.
Oh my
like,
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I was definitely like that emo kid that just was like, ew, I don't like it, baby bit. Like I was a vocal major, I was very stuck up. Like I thought like, musical theater people,
I knew them.
Which is funny because a lot of our musical theater people are actually on Broadway now. So I'm like, never mind.
yes.
So there's that. But what happened with Palace Burn is that we actually broke up in 2018.
Okay.
And, it was one of those things where I was getting in the midst of getting, like, things were getting really dramatic with my now ex-husband, that sort of thing. So, it was kind of seeping into, the morale of the band. So we decided, let's just end it on good terms. Like, we don't want to end up fighting or anything like that. So once Palace Burn ended, it was always one of those things in the back of my mind. I'm like, well, that's great, but I still want to sing. I still want to perform. Yeah. So that's how I got involved in community theater. And it's funny because, oh man, I tried out for AIDA. I wanted to be AIDA, but I ended up getting the Hebka. And
which happened to Charity, by the way. She auditioned too.
Yeah.
And she auditioned to be AIDA, and she got cast as the Hebka as well.
But I loved man, the Hebka's such a great role. I loved it. But the day that okay, so we're getting a little personal here. So the marriage ended, unfortunately, physically. And the day after my ex-husband assaulted me, I had to go straight to rehearsal.
Oof.
So
wow, I know that's hard.
When I tell you that if I did not have my cast around me, I don't know where I would be. So I think that, to answer that question, I think my love for music and my love for performing was what pushed me to do musical theater, and the community and the friendships that I made are what kept me in musical theater.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that, man. That is amazing.
Jeez, now my question is going to seem so like cotton candy right now.
No, it's not.
Sorry, Terrence.
Every question has a story, man. You never know where it could lead.
No, Will, go ahead. Yeah, one more, Will. Go ahead.
It's fine. Well, she talked about it already.
Okay. So my first question is a simple question. What got you into wrestling, essentially? And
the story.
And AEW at the same time, both of them.
So wrestling as a whole?
Yeah, wrestling as a whole, and then what got you to watch AEW? Because some people decide to stick with WWE. What made you start with wrestling in general and then also watch AEW as well?
Okay, so I started off when I was in middle school, and I remember very specifically going into homeroom. If you guys remember, like homeroom, like the morning that you had to have, right? And they called like everyone's name, all that BS. And so there were a group of guys in my homeroom who were reading WWF magazine.
Right. Remember the magazine.
Right. And on the cover, it was the Brood.
Okay.
So Edge, Gangrel, and Christian. And I remember seeing like Edge, because Edge is very tall. He's about 6'6". And so I remember seeing Edge kind of like towering over them, and I was like, "Who is that? What is that? Oh my God!" And of course, boys, middle school, like guys are just a-holes. They're just like, "Oh, you don't know anything. This is for boys. Me. You're a girl." I'm like, "Nah, bro. Like, tell me who that is. Like, I'm really trying to find out." And they're like, I guess you can watch on, Monday nights at 9 on TNN, whatever. Just kind of like brush me off.
Yeah.
And
wow. Jerks. You're such a jerk.
Right. So, ironically, the first ever episode of Raw's War that I ever saw, it opened with The Brood.
Oh, wow. Lucky you.
Wow.
My first ever experience with professional wrestling was The Brood coming out of the flames,
the fire,
full chalice, and I'm just sitting there, just like, I was hooked.
Oh my God,
that was it.
Wow,
that was it. So I want to say I was 11 or 12 at that time. So yeah, 7th, 8th grade, something along those lines. So it's been half my life. As far as AEW specifically, I think really, WWE has had its issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Putting it lightly.
Right. And, I'm being
very lightly.
And I think that it was something fresh. It was something new. And it also was something where I had a little bit of knowledge of people before, like Kenny Omega, like being at MJPW, Marty Scurll, the Young Bucks, obviously, Chris Jericho is one of my all-time favorites. Yeah. So it was one of those things where it's just like, I don't really want to be technically loyal, that sort of thing. It's just like, for me, pro wrestling is pro wrestling. Whether it's AEW, whether it's the indie scene, NJPW, RRH, whoever it is, I just love professional wrestling as a whole. So I ended up ordering All Out.
All Out, yep.
All In was the first one.
All In was the first one, yes.
I remember ordering that. It was actually supposed to be our anniversary. But and so myself and my husband sat and watched it, and it was just like, dude, what is this new big amazing wonderful thing? Give me more. I love it. It just I was hooked. Like, just All In, just watching All In really did it for me. So and I just remember like trying to get to all their shows and stuff like that. Like even before the Revolution thing, like I went to All Out, I went to Full Gear in Baltimore. So it's just like,
you went.
Just, let me try.
Following his question.
It's a great product. I know that, there are growing pains. I know that they still have a lot of work that they need to do in regards to, but again, they just started. So it's like, you can't be too hard on them. They have the talent, they have the people backstage, they have the writers. Like, it seems like it's such a fun, great place to be.
Yes.
As far as being in the sport, from what I can see. So, they'll get there. But it's, it has the potential to be a fantastic product.